My name is Autumn Townsend. I am 33 years old, and last Thanksgiving my parents handed out gifts to every grandchild at the table, except mine. My sister's kids each got a wrapped box with a card that said, "To the grandkids who made us proud." My daughter Lily, 8 years old, stared at the empty spot in front of her. My son Sam, 5, asked if Santa forgot him. My nephew Tyler, 14, looked across the table at my kids and laughed. Guess they didn't earn one. I did not yell. I did not cry. I picked up my children, grabbed our coats, and walked out my parents' front door. At home, I sent one text to the family group chat, and within seconds, my phone exploded. Mom, Dad, my sister Monica, calling nonstop. But here is what none of them knew. What I did next would cost them far more than a gift bag. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories, the channel where everyday people stand up, set boundaries, and reclaim their dignity, one story at a time. If you have ever been the one your family forgot, this one is for you. Drop a comment and be sure to subscribe. Now, let me tell you how this started. My family is small-town Ohio, Millfield, population around 12,000. My father Frank retired 3 years ago from county road maintenance. My mother Diane runs the Tuesday prayer circle at First Presbyterian and considers herself the social backbone of our street. My older sister Monica married Craig Lawford, a dentist with his own practice, 15 years ago. They have 3 children, a big house, 2 German cars in the driveway. I took a different route. Culinary arts degree from Columbus, married Kyle at 24. He was charming in public, controlling in private. He decided when I could see friends. He decided how I spent every dollar. When I found out he had removed my name from our joint checking account without telling me, I filed for divorce. I was 28. Lily was 3. Sam was 5 months old. I moved home, rented a 2-bedroom apartment on Oak Street, 14 minutes from my parents' house. Started over with a used mixer and a cottage food license. Named my little home bakery Townsend Sweets, caramel apple pies, brown butter pecan tarts, lemon lavender scones. Every recipe mine, developed during late nights when the kids were asleep, and the kitchen was the only room that felt like it belonged to me. 2 years later, I had steady weekend orders and a growing Instagram following. Nothing huge, but enough to keep the lights on and put Lily in dance class. My parents never forgave me for the divorce, not because they liked Kyle, they barely knew him. They forgave him for being absent the same way they forgave rain for being wet. Just something that happened. What they could not forgive was me choosing to leave a marriage. In my family, being divorced was worse than being unhappy. At least unhappy kept quiet. The shift started slowly. After the divorce, my mother stopped calling on Sundays. My father's monthly visits turned into whenever he was in the area, which apparently was never. Monica's kids got birthday parties at my parents' house, bounce houses, catering platters from the deli counter, 30 guests singing around a sheet cake with their names piped in buttercream. When Bryce, Monica's youngest, turned 7, my parents spent close to $400 on decorations alone. I know because my mother mentioned the receipt at dinner like she was reading from a victory scroll. Sam turned 4 that same month. My mother said they were tight on money. She mailed a $20 Target gift card. It arrived 3 days late. Lily noticed. Kids always notice. She stopped asking to visit Grandma's house and started asking why Grandma never visited ours. I brought it up once. Calmly. Over coffee at my parents' kitchen table, while the kids were outside on the swing set. Mom, the birthday thing. Sam notices. Lily notices. Diane stirred her coffee without looking up. Monica needs more help, Autumn. Craig works long hours. You have always been the independent one. Take it as a compliment. A compliment. That is what she called it. I stopped arguing after that. I stopped expecting. But I did not stop showing up, because every few weeks Lily would look at me with those wide brown eyes and say, "Can we go see Grandma? Maybe she will play cards with me this time." So I reduced visits. Monthly became holidays only. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter if the weather held. Just enough to let my kids believe their grandmother remembered their names. just enough to keep the peace I was already losing. Thanksgiving morning, 6:47. The kitchen smelled like brown butter and cinnamon. Sam sat on the counter with a wooden spoon, licking caramel off the handle. Lily was at the table wrapping her drawing for Grandma in a piece of printer paper. A turkey made of handprints, signed in her careful second-grade cursive. I slid my salted caramel apple pie into a carrier. This was the one dish everybody asked about at every family gathering, the one Diane served to her prayer circle friends and let them assume she had made. I never corrected her. Correction required energy I did not have to spare. We loaded the minivan, 22 minutes across town. I turned onto Maple Lane and saw Monica's pearl-white Lexus already parked in the driveway. Craig's dark blue BMW sat beside it. All 4 doors of my parents' house were lit up like a greeting card. Inside, the dining room table was set for 10. Turkey in the center. Name cards written in Diane's looping handwriting. I pulled out Lily's chair and stopped. At Tyler's place, a small sparkly silver gift bag. At Emma's place, another. At Bryce's, a third. At Lily's place, her name card and nothing else. At Sam's, same. I stared at those empty spots for 3 seconds. Then I set the pie carrier on the counter. Nobody reached for it. Nobody said thank you. Frank shook my hand. Not a hug, a handshake, like I was a neighbor returning a borrowed tool. I told myself the bags were probably party favors for later. I told myself they would hand something to everyone after dinner. I told myself a lot of things that year. Most of them were wrong. Dinner conversation belonged to Diane. She talked about Monica's new kitchen countertops. Quartz. Imported. $12,000. She talked about Craig's practice expanding into a second office on the east side of town. She talked about Tyler making the travel soccer roster. Every sentence circled back to Monica's family like a dog returning to the same patch of grass. I mentioned that Townsend Sweets had been accepted for a booth at the Millfield Spring Farmers Market. 3 months away, my first real public venue. I had been planning it since September. Diane changed the subject before I finished the sentence. Frank, pass the gravy. Monica, tell everyone about Bryce's science project. Monica smiled. Craig cut his turkey. Nobody looked at me. Lily sat next to Sam, quiet. She kept glancing at the silver bags at the cousins' seats. Her fingers traced the edge of her empty placemat. Sam did not notice yet. He was 5. He was still young enough to believe that if something was missing, it was probably coming later. Monica leaned across the table. Autumn, have you thought about getting back into restaurant work? Stability, you know? Benefits? Health insurance for the kids? I set my fork down. I have insurance through the marketplace. Right. Monica smiled again. Just thinking of the kids. Frank asked Sam what he wanted for Christmas. Before Sam could answer, Diane cut in. Frank, let us not do gift talk right now. The irony of that sentence would not hit me for another 20 minutes. I should have left then. But Sam had mashed potato on his chin and was giggling at something Tyler said to him, and for about 10 seconds, it looked like the kind of family I wanted my children to have. 10 seconds. Diane stood up before dessert. She smoothed her blouse, pressed her palms together, and addressed the table like a woman delivering a keynote. Before we have pie, Grandpa and I have something special. A little recognition for the grandkids who made us proud this year. She walked to Tyler's chair first, handed him his silver bag. He pulled out a gaming headset, $80 retail I knew, because Sam had circled it in a flyer the week before. Tyler grinned. Thanks, Grandma. Emma next, a jewelry-making kit with real semi-precious beads. She squealed. Diane beamed. Bryce, a Lego architecture set, the Statue of Liberty. He tore the bag open and dumped the box on the table. Then Diane sat back down, folded her napkin, picked up her wine glass. That was it. Sam looked at me. His bottom lip did not tremble. He was confused, not hurt yet. He leaned close and whispered, Where is ours, Mama? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Lily did not ask. She already understood. She pulled her handprint turkey drawing halfway out of her jacket pocket, looked at it, and pushed it back in. She was not going to give it to Grandma anymore. Tyler put the headset on, adjusted the band, looked at Lily, then at Sam. Then he laughed. Guess they didn't earn one. Nobody corrected him. Monica examined her wine. Craig studied a spot on the wall. Frank stared at his plate. Diane sipped and said nothing. The room was silent except for wrapping paper and the hum of the football game in the other room. And my 5-year-old son's face slowly shifting from confusion to the kind of understanding no child should have to learn at a dinner table. I looked at Lily. She had her hands in her lap, flat and still, the way she holds them when she is trying hard not to cry. I looked at Sam. He was staring at Tyler's headset with an expression I recognized, the same face I used to make when my mother forgot my school recitals. I looked at my mother. She was cutting a piece of turkey and chewing with the satisfaction of someone who believed she had just taught a very important lesson. I stood up. Slowly. Pushed my chair in. Lily, Sam, get your coats. Diane set her knife down. Autumn, sit down. You are overreacting. Get your coats, baby. We are going home. I walked to the counter. My pie sat exactly where I had placed it 45 minutes ago. Untouched. Nobody had sliced it. Nobody had served it. Nobody had even moved the carrier to make room. I wrapped it in the tea towel I had brought and tucked it under my arm. Frank half rose from his chair. Come on, Autumn, it is Thanksgiving. I looked at him. Not for us, Dad. Lily slid off her chair and took Sam's hand. She reached into her pocket, pulled out the handprint turkey drawing and folded it quietly back inside. She had made it the night before with watercolors. She had signed it, Love Lily, age 8. She put it away and walked toward the front door without looking back. Nobody followed us. I buckled Sam into his car seat. Lily climbed in on the other side and clicked her own belt. I started the engine, backed out of the driveway, and turned onto Maple Lane. I expected someone to come outside. A voice. A hand on the window. Something. The porch light stayed on. The door stayed closed. The drive home took 22 minutes. Sam fell asleep with his cheek against the window by minute 5. Lily sat with her hands still in her lap, staring at the road. She did not say anything until we pulled into our driveway. Mama, why does Grandma not like us? I turned off the engine, sat in the dark for a second. The dashboard clock said 7:14. Grandma is confused right now, baby. That is not your problem to fix. I carried Sam inside, laid him on the couch with a blanket, and stood in the kitchen for a long time looking at my phone. The family group chat, Townsend family blessings, glowed at the top of my messages. 19 members, though only 5 of us ever posted. The last message was Diane sharing a pumpkin bread recipe 2 days ago. I typed it short and final. Don't invite us again, we're not your joke. I paused. Then added one more line. Your gift is on the way. I did not know what that meant yet. I pressed send anyway. Within 30 seconds, 4 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Monica. Mom again. A text from Diane. You're being dramatic. Call me now. A text from Monica. Seriously. It was just gifts. A text from Frank. Your mother is crying. I set my phone face down on the counter, walked to the fridge, cut 2 slices of salted caramel apple pie, the one nobody touched at my parents' house, put them on plates, set them on the kitchen table. Lily came in. She sat across from me. We ate in silence, the 2 of us, while Sam slept on the couch and my phone buzzed against the granite like something trying to escape a jar. I did not answer. I did not know what your gift is on the way meant yet, but I knew I was done pretending. The next morning, I woke up to 47 unread messages in the group chat. Diane had written a full essay. 4 paragraphs, perfect punctuation, as if she had drafted it in a Word document first. Her explanation, the gifts were for academic achievement. Tyler made the honor roll. Emma won the district spelling bee. Bryce received a citizenship award at his elementary school. It was meant to be motivational, she wrote. We were hoping it would inspire Lily and Sam to work harder. Sam is 5. He is in preschool. His greatest academic achievement this year was learning to zip his own jacket. Frank sent a separate message. Private. not in the group. Your mom didn't mean to hurt anyone. Come for Christmas. We can talk. Monica texted, if your kids were in more activities, they would have gotten something too. Don't blame mom for your choices. I read every message, twice. I saved the screenshots. I did not respond. At 9 in the morning, I called Patty Nguyen. Patty owns the flower shop on Main Street. She is 58 years old, originally from Houston, and the kind of woman who says what she means and means it hard. She has known me since I moved back to Millfield. She buys 24 lemon scones from me every Friday for her shop counter. I told her everything. The bags, the speech, Tyler's comment, the walkout. Patty was quiet for about 3 seconds. Then she said, honey, that is not tough love. That is cruelty with a name card on it. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in 12 hours. Save those messages, Patty said. All of them. You might need them later. I did not know why yet, but I saved them. December came cold and quiet. No calls from Diane, no visits from Frank. The group chat sat still like a room after a fight, everyone waiting for someone else to speak first. I threw myself into Townsend Sweets. Holiday orders doubled from the year before, mostly word of mouth from a craft fair I had done in November. I filled 73 orders in 3 weeks, pumpkin ginger tarts, cranberry almond biscotti, my salted caramel apple pie, the same one that sat untouched on my parents' counter, now selling 4 deep every Saturday from my kitchen. I applied for the spring booth at the Millfield Farmers Market. The application was 2 pages plus references. Patty wrote one. My culinary school instructor, who still remembered me after 9 years, wrote the other. I mailed it in the first week of December and tried not to check the mailbox every afternoon. I drove to the county clerk's office and upgraded my cottage food license to a full food handler's permit. 12 hours of classes, $65, a laminated certificate that I stuck on the refrigerator next to Lily's spelling test and Sam's finger painting. Christmas Eve, a card arrived from my parents, addressed to Lily and Sam. Not Autumn. My name was not on the envelope. Inside, a $25 gift card to Target and a note in Diane's handwriting. Merry Christmas to our grandchildren. Love, Grandma and Grandpa. Lily looked at the card, looked at me. Mama, Grandma forgot your name. She did not forget. Grandma is mad at me, baby, and that is not your problem to fix. Lily nodded. She went back to her coloring book. Sam taped the gift card to the refrigerator like it was a trophy. He was 5. He did not understand exclusion yet. I hoped he never would. January. I dropped Sam off at Little Stars preschool on a Tuesday morning. Another mother, Karen Bledsoe, whose kid was in Sam's class, gave me a look I could not place. Part pity, part curiosity, like I was a car accident she was driving past slowly. I heard about your Thanksgiving, she said. Your mom told my mom at church. I did not ask what version Diane was telling. I did not need to. Over the next 2 weeks, the shape of it became clear. Diane had turned the walkout into a narrative, and it was spreading through First Presbyterian like a hymn everyone already knew the tune to. Her version, Autumn abandoned the family on Thanksgiving and broke her mother's heart. She will not let Diane see the grandchildren. She is punishing her parents for loving Monica's children. Not one detail about the gift bags. Not one mention of Tyler's comment. Not one acknowledgement that 2 children under 10 sat at a table and received nothing while their cousins were celebrated 6 feet away. Orders slowed. 2 regulars canceled. 1 texted, "Sorry, I just don't want to get in the middle of anything." I sat at my kitchen table that night with my order spreadsheet. December, 73 orders. January so far, 41. 2 large weekly accounts gone. Revenue down 19% in 3 weeks. My mother was not just trying to guilt me back into the fold. She was poisoning the water I needed to drink from. Patty called that evening. "People are talking, Autumn. You need to know. Diane told the Tuesday prayer group that you abandoned the family." I pulled up my laptop, opened a folder labeled Documentation, created a new spreadsheet called Canceled Orders, logged every name, every date, every excuse. I did not know what I was building yet, but I was building something. Late January, Patty sent me a screenshot with no comment, just an arrow emoji pointing down. Monica's Instagram. A new account launched that week. Lawford Kitchen, custom cakes, pies, and pastries for every occasion. The bio said, family recipes, made with love. The logo was a rolling pin inside a wreath of wheat. The color scheme was warm gold and cream, close enough to mine that it could have been a sibling. I scrolled through the posts. Salted caramel apple pie, brown butter pecan tarts, lemon lavender scones, every single item from my menu, photographed on marble countertops that cost more than my rent. Monica had me blocked. I could only see what Patty forwarded. The comments were glowing. These look amazing. Do you deliver? I love that you are keeping family traditions alive. And Monica's reply every time, thank you so much. My grandmother taught me. Our grandmother did not bake. She lived in Dayton and played bridge. She died when I was 12 and Monica was 16. She never once stood in a kitchen with either of us. I checked the county food license database. No listing for Lawford Kitchen. No cottage food permit. No food handler's certificate. She was operating from her home without a single piece of paperwork. But the thing that made my hands shake was not the licensing violation. It was the last post. A photo of her version of my salted caramel apple pie, my recipe, the one that took me 14 test batches and 3 months to perfect. With a caption that said, a recipe that's been in our family for generations. Beneath it, one comment from Diane Townsend. So proud of my girl. We can only invest in one family, Autumn. She had said that to me 6 months ago when I asked if she could share my bakery flyer with her church group. And now I understood what she meant. February. I called a small business attorney in the next town over, Rachel Kim. Her office was above a dry cleaner on Route 9, and her initial consult was free for 30 minutes. I brought a folder. Not a thin one. Rachel flipped through it with the calm of someone who reads bad news for a living. Cottage food license with Townsend Sweets registered 2 years ago. 153 order receipts, each one time-stamped. 28 Instagram posts dating back 22 months with original recipe photos. My culinary school notebook, handwritten, dated, with my instructor's margin notes in red pen. Customer emails, the county permit upgrade paperwork. She looked at me over the folder. How long has your sister been operating? About 3 weeks. Does she have any formal training? She took a cake decorating class at the community center in 2019. Rachel closed the folder. You have common law trademark through prior use. If she registers a name or product line that's confusingly similar to yours, you can file an opposition. She pulled up Monica's Instagram on her phone, scrolled through the menu posts, compared them side by side with my documentation. This is not competition, she said. This is appropriation. Keep documenting. Every post, every comment where she claims these are family recipes, every order she takes. If she files a trademark, we file opposition the same week. I asked what it would cost. She said her hourly rate was $175, but for an opposition filing, it was a flat $1,500. She told me to think about it. I drove home with the windows down even though it was February and 38 degrees. For the first time in months, I felt something I had almost forgotten. Certainty. Late February. My inbox chimed with a confirmation from the Millfield Farmers Market. My booth was approved, slot 14, right between Patty's flower stand and the honey vendor. Opening day, 3rd Saturday of March. The same afternoon, I got a call from the market coordinator. Her name was Deborah, and she sounded like someone trying very hard to remain neutral. Autumn, I want to give you a heads up. We received another application for a baked goods booth. The product line has significant overlap with yours. She did not say Monica's name. She did not have to. Is the applicant licensed? I asked. Pause. That is between the applicant and the county. Monica had applied to the market. Someone had told her about my booth. 3 months of silence from my family, and suddenly my sister was setting up shop 3 tables away. Her Instagram followers had climbed to 900. Mine was at 600 and change. She had Craig's dental practice income backing her marketing, professional product photos, vinyl banners, a website with an online ordering form, something I could not afford yet. I opened my order spreadsheet. January, 41 orders. February so far, 22. Revenue down 44% from December. A customer messaged me that week. Your sister says she taught you how to bake? Is that true? I stared at that message for a full minute. No. I went to culinary school. I developed every recipe myself. Oh. She made it sound like you copied her. I screenshotted the exchange, saved it to the documentation folder, sent a copy to Rachel. 44%. That was not a seasonal dip. That was a woman with a dentist's income and my recipes pulling my customers across the street. Early March. Patty called me on a Wednesday evening. Her voice was different, tight, urgent, the way she sounds when someone puts carnations in a bridal bouquet. Come to the shop. Right now. There is something you need to see. I drove over in 9 minutes. Patty was standing behind her counter with her phone held out like it was evidence at a trial. Her daughter Jess was friends with Monica's babysitter, a college student named Alyssa who watched Tyler, Emma, and Bryce 2 nights a week. Alyssa had been scrolling through her screenshots folder and accidentally sent a batch to Jess instead of her roommate. Group chat screenshots. The wrong group chat. Not the Townsend family blessings thread. A different one. 3 members. Diane, Frank, and Monica. The chat was called Planning Committee. The messages were dated 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Diane, get gift bags for the 3 kids, not Autumn's. She needs to understand there are consequences for pulling away. Monica, Craig can get the headsets wholesale. I'll handle the rest. Frank, is this really necessary? Diane, if she wants back in this family, she needs to show up properly. This will motivate her. Then the day after Thanksgiving, after the walkout, after my text, one more message from Diane. She'll come crawling back by Christmas. I read those screenshots standing in a flower shop that smelled like eucalyptus and cold water. My hands went numb. My chest felt like someone had placed a flat stone on it and walked away. It was never about earning it. It was never about achievement. It was organized, deliberate punishment of my children, aged 8 and 5, to force me back into a family that considered obedience the price of belonging. Patty did not say anything. She just put her hand on my shoulder and let me stand there until I could breathe again. If you have ever found out that the people you trusted were planning to hurt you, planning it like a project, with group chats and shopping lists, then you know what this feels like. You know why I kept going. If you are still here, drop a comment and tell me if you have ever discovered the truth about someone you loved. Subscribe if you have not already, because what happened at that farmer's market is where this story really begins. March 1st. Rachel called before I had finished my morning coffee. Your sister filed a state trademark application, Lawford Kitchen, artisan sweets and pastries. The product list overlaps entirely with your registered menu. I set my mug down. Can she do that? Anyone can file. The question is whether it holds. And it will not. Your prior use documentation is airtight. Every receipt, every post, every license predates her by at least 20 months. Rachel filed an opposition on behalf of Townsend Sweets within 5 days. The fee was $1,500. I paid it with the savings I had been setting aside for a commercial mixer. The mixer could wait. My name could not. That same week, Monica posted a photo of her version of my salted caramel apple pie. Gold light, marble counter, a single slice on a ceramic plate with a sprig of rosemary. Caption: my grandmother's recipe, perfected. 47 likes. Comments filled with heart emojis and order requests. I opened my recipe notebook. The one I had carried through culinary school. Page 34. Salted caramel apple pie. Final version. Dated in my instructor's red ink. 18 months before Monica posted her first photo. I photographed every page, front and back, uploaded them to a time-stamped cloud folder and shared access with Rachel. My grandmother did not perfect this recipe. My grandmother made Jell-O salad and store-bought rolls. She played bridge on Fridays and died when I was 12. My sister was building a brand on a lie, and my mother was commenting heart emojis on every post, like a woman watering a garden she had planted herself. Rachel's voice came back to me from our first meeting. Prior use beats a filing date. Every receipt you saved is a brick in your wall. I had a lot of bricks. Mid-March. The Millfield Farmers Market held a preliminary vendor meeting at the community center. 32 booths confirmed. Deborah, the coordinator, went through setup times, health codes, parking passes. I arrived early, set out my sample table. 3 pies sliced thin, printed menus, business cards with a QR code for Instagram, clean white tablecloth, hand-lettered chalkboard signs. Monica walked in 20 minutes late. She carried a vinyl banner rolled under her arm and a box of samples in matching gold packaging. She saw me and stopped for half a second. Then she chose a table at the opposite end of the room. The other vendors noticed. Dan, the honey seller who had been doing the market for 11 years, leaned toward Patty during the break. Those two have the exact same menu. That is not a coincidence. Patty sipped her coffee. No, it is not. After the meeting, Deborah pulled me aside near the water fountain. I need you both to coexist on market day. If there is a business dispute, that is not something I can mediate. I nodded. Understood. She paused, looked at the door Monica had just walked through, then added quietly, For what it is worth, your cottage food license predates the other application by 23 months. That is public record. I checked. She walked away before I could respond. Patty was waiting by my car. She had a cellophane-wrapped bouquet of sunflowers tucked under her arm, the ones she puts out on Fridays when her delivery comes in. She handed them to me. What are these for? For your table on opening day. Let your work speak, honey. It will be louder than any gossip in this town. I put the sunflowers on my passenger seat and drove home with the windows cracked, even though it was still only 42 degrees. Late March. Rachel called with an update. The state trademark office flagged your sister's application. Your opposition is under formal review. Based on the documentation you provided, 2 years of dated receipts, 28 Instagram posts, the cottage food license, the culinary school notebook. Your case is strong. Strong. She said that word the way a doctor says stable, carefully, professionally, with just enough warmth to let you know things were moving in the right direction. Orders started coming back. 2 former customers reached out the same week. One was a woman named Claire who used to buy a pie every Sunday for her book club. I saw your original Instagram posts, she said. I compared the dates. I did not realize your sister started after you. She did, I said. By 20 months. I feel awful. I ordered from her twice. You did not know. She ordered 3 pies that week, and she told her book club. I did not talk about Monica. I did not mention the trademark fight, the group chat screenshots, the gossip campaign. I just posted consistently. Process shots of my kitchen at 5 in the morning, Sam with flour on his nose, Lily arranging pie slices on a sample tray for the market. Real life. My life. Instagram followers climbed. 800, 900, 1100. A local food blogger named Tess reached out. I love the story behind Townsend Sweets. Single mom, home baker, culinary school background. Can I do a profile? The blog post went up the second week of March. It was honest and specific. It mentioned my cottage food license date, my culinary degree, my 2 years of building the business from scratch. It did not mention Monica. It did not need to. 6,000 views in 7 days. Comments. This is what real entrepreneurship looks like. For the first time, strangers were seeing what my family had always refused to. Diane showed up at my front door on a Wednesday evening. No call, no warning. Just her car in my driveway, and her knuckles on the screen door. I had not seen her face in 4 months. She looked thinner. Her hair was freshly colored and her lipstick was precise, which meant this visit was planned. Diane does not leave the house in lipstick unless she has something to say. We need to talk about this legal business, she said from the porch. You need to drop it. I did not invite her in. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me so the kids would not hear. Which legal business? This thing with Monica. The trademark nonsense. You are embarrassing this family. Which part is embarrassing? The part where she stole my recipes? Or the part where you helped her? Diane's jaw tightened. Nobody stole anything. You got those recipes from my kitchen. They are family recipes. I developed them in culinary school, Mom. I have the notebooks with dated instructor notes. She shifted, dropped her voice half a register, the way she does when she is switching from offense to guilt. I am your mother. I carried you. And you are choosing a pie business over your own family? I looked at her, straight. No heat, no crack in my voice. You chose gift bags for 3 children and empty seats for 2. You made the first choice, Mom. Not me. Something moved across her face, a flicker. Not remorse, recognition. The look of someone caught inside their own logic and unable to find the exit. She left without another word, walked to her car, pulled out of the driveway, and turned right onto Oak Street. I watched her taillights disappear. Then I went back inside and finished frosting a batch of lemon lavender scones for Saturday's market. Frank called 2 days later, first time since Thanksgiving. His voice sounded like he had been sleeping in a room with no windows, tired in a way that went past physical. He cleared his throat twice before he spoke. Autumn, I need you to understand something. Your mother is not sleeping. She is not eating right. This situation is taking a toll on her. I leaned against my kitchen counter. Sam was in the living room watching cartoons. Lily was doing homework at the table. I kept my voice low. Dad, she planned the gift exclusion in a group chat 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I have the screenshots. Silence. The kind of silence that sounds like someone closing a door they hoped would stay shut. Where did you get those? Does it matter? More silence. I could hear him breathing through his nose. Your mother just wants you to come home, Autumn. Home is not a place where my children are used as leverage. She loves those kids. She excluded them from gift bags and told her church circle I abandoned the family. That is not love, Dad. That is control. His voice cracked. What do you want me to do? And there it was. The sentence that told me everything I needed to know about my father. He was not asking because he wanted to act. He was asking because he had never known how. 64 years old, retired, healthy, present, and still waiting for someone to tell him what the right move was. Ask yourself why you never said no to her, I said. Ask yourself why you let it happen. He hung up. I cried that night after the kids were asleep. Not for losing my father. I had lost him years ago without either of us admitting it. I cried because he had just confirmed it out loud. The week before the Millfield Farmers Market grand opening. I sat on the living room floor with Rachel's folder spread across the carpet like a case map. Trademark opposition. Filed, acknowledged, under review. Prior use evidence packet. 43 dated invoices, 28 Instagram screenshots with timestamps, my cottage food license scan, and 8 customer testimonials. Each one signed, dated, and specific. Rachel had organized everything into a laminated 1-page timeline. Left column, Townsend Suites, established October 2023. Right column, Lawford Kitchen, established January 2026. Below each column, the dates, the posts, the receipts. 23 months of difference laid out in 12-point font. I had not asked her to make it. She said she thought I might want something I could hold. I baked test batches that Thursday night. Sam sat on the counter and licked caramel off a spoon. Same spot, same spoon as Thanksgiving morning. Lily folded napkins with the Townsend Suites stamp on them, pressing the ink pad carefully and centering each one. Mama, are we going to sell a lot? I hope so, baby. More than Aunt Monica? I stopped rolling dough. Lily was looking at me with an expression that was too adult for 8 years old. She knew. She had been watching. She understood more than I had given her credit for. We are going to sell what we make, and we are going to be proud of it. She nodded and went back to stamping. I put Rachel's folder in my market tote. The laminated timeline, the evidence binder, the culinary school notebook. I did not plan a confrontation. I planned a booth. But I put the folder in the bag the way you put an umbrella in your car when the sky looks uncertain. Just in case. Saturday morning, 5:45. Millfield Town Square was dark except for the string lights on the pavilion and the headlights of vendor trucks pulling in one by one. I loaded the minivan, 4 coolers of sliced pies, 2 trays of tarts, the chalkboard signs, the sample plates, the tablecloth. Sam stayed home with Patty's husband Doug, who had volunteered for babysitting duty. Lily came with me. She insisted. My booth was slot 14. I set up the white tablecloth first, then the chalkboard menus, then the ceramic sample plates with toothpicks. Patty's sunflowers, the same ones she had handed me after the vendor meeting, went in a mason jar at the corner. Lily taped a drawing to the front of the table. Townsend Sweets, made with love. She had drawn it the night before in colored pencil. 3 booths to my left, Monica arrived at 6:30. Professional vinyl banner, gold-lettered signage, matching gold boxes stacked in a branded crate. Craig's BMW idled at the curb while she unloaded. He handed her a check and drove away without getting out. She did not look at me. I did not look at her. By 9, foot traffic was steady. I sold 14 pie slices in the first hour. People stopped, tasted, asked questions. How long have you been doing this? Where can I order for a party? Is this the pie I saw on the food blog? A woman walked to Monica's booth around 9:30, tasted the salted caramel apple pie, then walked to mine, tasted mine, stopped, looked back and forth between the 2 booths. These taste identical, she said. I met her eyes. They should. It is my recipe. She looked at Monica's banner, looked at mine, looked at the dates on my laminated menu. Then she bought a whole pie from me and walked away. 10:30. Diane and Frank walked into the market through the south entrance. Diane wore her Sunday blazer, pale blue, pearl buttons. Frank trailed behind her the way he always did, close enough to seem present, far enough to avoid responsibility. They went straight to Monica's booth. Diane embraced her loudly. There is my girl. Does this not look wonderful? The hug lasted 5 seconds longer than necessary. It was aimed at me. For 20 minutes, they stood at Monica's booth. Diane handed out samples to passers-by. Frank shook hands with people he recognized from church. They performed the role of proud parents with the precision of actors who had rehearsed. They did not acknowledge me. Not a glance. Not a nod. My booth was 40 feet away, and they behaved as if I had never been born. A woman from Diane's prayer group, I recognized her from the Christmas potluck years ago, stopped at my booth. She leaned in close. Your mother told everyone Monica started this business first. Is that true? I reached into my tote and pulled out the laminated timeline, held it flat on the table where she could read it. Townsend Sweets, October 2023. Lawford Kitchen, January 2026. 23 months apart. Dates, licenses, social media records. She read it. Her eyes moved left to right, top to bottom. She looked up at me, then down the row at Monica's booth, then back at me. Lord have mercy, she said quietly. She bought a tart, and she told the woman behind her in line. By 11, I had sold out of pie slices. Monica's booth still had inventory. Craig arrived at 11:15 with Tyler. Tyler spotted Lily behind my table. He looked at her, started to smirk, then stopped. He looked away. I want to pause here because I know some of you are thinking she should have lost it. She should have screamed. But I learned something about my mother a long time ago. She feeds on your reaction. The louder you get, the more ammunition she has. So I stayed quiet. I let the evidence sit on the table and I let people read it for themselves. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Hit subscribe. The climax is next. 11:15. Monica walked toward my booth. I saw her coming from 20 feet away. Gold apron, tight smile, hands clasped in front of her like she was approaching the witness stand. She stopped at the edge of my tablecloth. Close enough for the neighboring vendors to hear. Not loud enough for the whole market. Not yet. You need to stop telling people I copied you, she said. This is embarrassing. I have not told anyone anything, Monica. Then why is everyone looking at your little timeline like it is evidence? Because it is. She shifted her weight, crossed her arms. Those are family recipes, Autumn. Mom taught both of us. Mom told me last week they were family recipes. You told Instagram your grandmother taught you. Which story is it? Her face flushed from the neck up. The color started at her collar and climbed like a thermometer. She leaned in. You have always been jealous of me, ever since we were kids. You could not keep a husband, and now you. She stopped. Not because she ran out of words, because she realized people were listening. Dan the honey vendor had paused mid-pour. Patty stood motionless behind her flower buckets. The woman from the prayer group was still at my booth, tart in hand, frozen. 3 other customers had stopped walking. Monica looked at them, looked at me. Her jaw worked, but nothing came out. I did not raise my voice. I did not step forward. I reached into my market tote, pulled out the folder, Rachel's folder, the one I had packed just in case, and set it on the table between us. I did not say a word. The folder sat there, thick and neat, held together with a single black binder clip. I opened the folder. My hands were steady. My pulse was not, but nobody needed to know that. This is my cottage food license, registered October 2023. These are 153 order receipts, each one date-stamped. These are 28 Instagram posts from the last 22 months showing my original recipes. I turned a page. This is my culinary school notebook. Page 34. Salted caramel apple pie. Final version. Dated in my instructor's handwriting. I laid the laminated timeline next to it. Left column, right column. 23 months of documented work versus 3 months of copied content. The state trademark office has already flagged your application because of my prior use filing, I said. My attorney submitted the opposition in the first week of March. Monica stared at the folder like it had grown teeth. This is crazy. You are crazy. It is not crazy, Monica. It is a paper trail. Diane pushed through the small crowd that had gathered. 15 people, maybe 20. She was moving fast, her Sunday blazer catching the morning light. What are you doing? Stop making a scene. I did not look away from the folder. I am not making a scene, Mom. I am showing people the truth. That is all I have ever wanted. I reached into the folder one more time. One more sheet. I laid it flat on the table and turned it to face them both. The planning committee group chat screenshots. The messages from 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Diane's typing, "Get gift bags for the 3 kids, not Autumn's." Monica's reply, "Craig can get headsets wholesale." Frank's hesitation, "Is this really necessary?" Diane's answer, "This will motivate her." And the final message, sent the night after I walked out, "She'll come crawling back by Christmas." Diane's face went white. Not pink, not pale. White. The kind of white that happens when blood decides it has somewhere else to be. The crowd was silent. Monica recovered first. She turned to the crowd, palms up, the way politicians do when the microphone catches something they did not mean to say. She is lying. She has always been jealous. She could not keep a husband, and now she... A woman in the crowd, the one with the tart, interrupted. "Ma'am, these documents have dates on them." Monica stopped. Her mouth stayed open for a second, then closed. She looked at Craig. Craig had been standing behind her with Tyler, holding a reusable shopping bag like a man who expected to be somewhere else by now. He looked at the folder. He looked at Monica. Then he took one quiet step backward. His face told the whole story. He did not know. Not about the recipes, not about the trademark, not about the group chat. Craig Lawford, 40 years old, successful dentist, had just discovered that his wife's new business was built on her sister's work and his mother-in-law's cruelty. Tyler stood behind his father. For the first time since Thanksgiving, he had nothing to say. Diane tried once more. She stepped close to me, close enough that I could smell her perfume. The same vanilla musk she had worn to every family dinner since I was a child. "Autumn, please. You are destroying this family, in front of everyone. I did not destroy it, Mom. I just stopped hiding the damage. Her hands trembled. Her voice dropped to something almost inaudible. I just wanted you to need us again. There it was. Small. Almost real. For half a second I saw her, not the woman who orchestrated gift bags and gossip campaigns, but a 61-year-old mother who had confused control with closeness and did not know how to love without a leash. Then she straightened, wiped her eyes, looked at the crowd. None of this would have happened if you had just come to Christmas like I asked. And just like that, the moment passed. She could not separate love from obedience. She would not learn, and I was done waiting for her to. Deborah, the market coordinator, had been standing 10 feet away with her clipboard. She stepped forward and addressed both of us, but she looked at the crowd while she spoke. I have reviewed the vendor applications and the county licensing records. Ms. Townsend's cottage food license for Townsend Sweets predates the competing application by 23 months. The overlapping product descriptions have been flagged, and I will be forwarding the matter to the County Food Safety Office for review. Translation: Monica was operating without a proper license. Her booth might not return. Monica did not respond. She walked back to her booth without a word. Craig followed. They packed the vinyl banner first, then the gold boxes, then the samples nobody had touched in the last hour. Tyler carried a folding table to Craig's BMW. Diane and Frank left through the south entrance. Diane walked 6 steps ahead of Frank. He followed the way he always had. At my booth, a line formed. 12 people. Some were market regulars. Some were strangers who had watched the whole thing from the pickle vendor's booth or the kettle corn stand. A woman I had never met bought a whole pie and said, "I am telling everyone I know about this place." Patty stood at the corner of my booth with her arms crossed and a grin she was not bothering to hide. "Let your work speak, huh?" I almost could not answer. My throat was tight. Not from anger. From the unfamiliar sensation of being seen by people who had no obligation to look. Lily had been watching from behind my booth the entire time, sitting on an overturned milk crate with her colored pencils. During the confrontation, she had drawn something. She held it up. A new sign. Colored pencil on cardstock. Townsend Sweets. We earned it. I looked at my daughter. I nodded. Yeah, baby. We did. That evening, market packed up, coolers empty, tablecloth folded. The sunflowers were wilting a little but still yellow enough to keep. I drove home the same 22 minutes I always did. Sam had fallen asleep at Patty's house and stayed asleep when Doug carried him to the car. The same way he fell asleep driving home from Thanksgiving, cheek against the window, trusting that wherever we were going would be safe. At home, I put him on the couch with a blanket. Made tea. Opened my phone. The Townsend Family Blessings group chat sat at the top of my messages. 31 unread. I did not open them. I typed one message. I wish you well, but we are done. Do not contact me or my children. If you respect us at all, you will respect this boundary. I sent it. Then I left the group chat. Blocked Diane's number. Blocked Monica's number. I kept Frank unblocked. Not because I expected him to change. Expectation is a debt you collect from yourself. I kept it open because one door should stay cracked, in case the person on the other side ever decides to knock honestly. He had not earned that chance yet. But I was not ready to say he never would. The phone stayed silent. No calls, no buzzing, no messages trying to escape a jar. For the first time since Thanksgiving, the silence was not punishment. It was peace. I walked to the kitchen, cut 2 slices of salted caramel apple pie, set them on the table. Lily came in, still holding her new sign. She sat across from me. Same chairs, same table, same pie. "Mama, are we going to be okay?" "Yeah, Lily, we already are." She took a bite, I took a bite. The house was quiet, and the quiet was ours. May. 2 months after the market, Townsend Sweets had a regular booth now. Every Saturday, slot 14. Patty on my left with her flowers, Dan on my right with his honey. We set up at 5:45. I sold out most weeks by noon. Revenue was up 200% from the January low. Not because of the confrontation, but because the food was good and the customers kept coming back. Rachel called on a Tuesday. The trademark opposition went through. Your sister's application was rejected based on prior use. She can keep the name Lawford Kitchen, but cannot register overlapping product descriptions. Your menu is protected. I thanked her, paid her final invoice, $400 for the follow-up paperwork. Set the phone down and stared at the refrigerator, where Lily's spelling test was still taped next to Sam's finger painting and my laminated food handler's certificate. Monica's Instagram had gone quiet. Last post, 3 weeks earlier. No new orders listed, no captions about family recipes or grandmother's traditions. Just silence. Diane had not reached out. Not a text. Not a card. Not a knock on the screen door. Frank sent one message in late April. It said, "I am sorry I did not stop it." I read it. I did not respond. But I did not delete it. In May, I started a new tradition. I called it Townsend Thanksgiving. Not in November. In May. Because why wait until one assigned day to sit down and be grateful? Patty and Doug came. Lily set the table. Sam put a paper crown on the dog next door who wandered over through the back fence. I went to the dollar store and bought 2 sparkly silver gift bags, filled them with homemade caramel apples and hand-painted cards. Put one at Lily's seat, one at Sam's. Sam picked his up. "Mama, is this for me?" "Every gift at this table is for you, baby. Always." He opened it like it was Christmas morning. Lily opened hers quietly, read the card, and put it in her pocket the way she puts things she wants to keep. I used to think family meant showing up no matter what. No matter how small they made you feel, no matter how empty the chair they saved for you. I do not think that anymore. Family means showing up for the people who show up for you. My parents had 33 years to choose differently. They chose gift bags and group chats and gossip over their own grandchildren. I chose my kids. I chose my work. I chose myself. And I would make the same choice tomorrow. That is my story. One Thanksgiving, one walkout, one folder that changed everything. If this reminded you that your boundaries are not selfish, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.